talk today. Never expected I'd be in here for something like this. For the past 10 years or so, our club has been working in Cambodia, doing a variety of projects. And in 2012-13, we put in place a formal twin club relationship with the Rotary Club of Phnom Penh. In 2014, I went to the Rotary International Conference in Sydney, where I met up with a friend, Peter Gray, who I had encountered from working in those projects, and he introduced me to the current president of the Rotary Club of Phnom Penh, Michael Wright. I was asked, could we support their new project, and their new project was the MEC project. MEC is an abbreviation for meningoencephalocele. This is a condition in many Cambodian children that requires craniofacial surgery. This is carried out at the Children's Surgical Centre in Phnom Penh, and it's owned and run by a doctor by the name of Jim Golgi. And it's our involvement in supporting the MEC project that we became involved in the Natalia project. Natalia was discovered by a dental team working in Jayapura, West Papua, Indonesia. The US doctor in charge of that team originally sent some photos to Michael Wright. Sent them to Jim to see if Jim could do some surgery for her. But as it was too extensive, he declined. The photos went on to Michael Wright, and Michael then sent them on to me. So this is Natalia. As you can see from these photos, she has a debilitating condition that now severely limits her ability to eat, and her teeth are virtually non-existent, with just brown broken lumps remaining. I put these photos onto our club's Facebook page, and I can tell you that Facebook works. And it turned out that the secretary of our club informed me that she had neighbours who had a son-in-law, Bruce French, who was a doctor in Sydney, and Bruce did volunteer work in Papua New Guinea. I sent the photos on to Bruce. He turns out that he's an associate professor at the University of Western Sydney and head department of cardiothoracic surgery at Liverpool Hospital. Over time, Bruce agreed that he thought that they could do something for her. I'd asked Peter Gray to come on board. I reckon that this was a project that would escalate, that was probably beyond what I could do alone. And Peter agreed to do that. And he decided that he would just handle the medical side, and I had to try and convince my club that this is a project that we could do and that we could achieve. By April last year, Bruce advised, so I tried to get that slide up before, that's Natalia and her family. So Bruce advised that yes, we can do something. And in April, he told us that he had 2 plastic surgeons from the Liverpool Hospital who were prepared to do the work for free. He also thought that the Liverpool Hospital might be able to do something. As the months passed, Peter was engaged in numerous email conversations with Michael Kernahan, who's the head plastic surgeon at Liverpool Hospital. But it got to the point, months went by, we had heard nothing, and we were really unsure to the extent of how hard we could push to see what further assistance would come. By September, we were advised that the Minister for Health in New South Wales, Brad Hazzard, had signed off on Liverpool Hospital agreeing to cover all medical costs completely. However, on going back to the board of my club, they were still doubtful. They were worried about the cost. Peter and I had been involved in some lengthy conversations, as you might imagine. We imagined that Natalia would probably require 2 or 3 trips from Indonesia into Australia and back again, and those sorts of things. Where would she stay? We'd need interpreters because they speak no English. We'd also have to consider how long she'd be in the country and what the cost would be. In all these discussions and the work to get involved on the hospital side, we were assisted brilliantly by the young lady on the left of your screen up there. That's Rachel Sleep, and she's a US nurse who was doing volunteer work with the dental team. Appointing Peter Gray as the project manager has been the key to the success of the project, no doubt. Peter introduced me online to Jim Rudley. Now, Jim's a president of the Rotary Club of Liverpool West, and he's agreed to host Natalia and her carer friend Emma for as long as is necessary. Jim had lived in Bali for a number of years and speaks some Indonesian, and he has Indonesian friends living nearby. Having the accommodation covered, it was time to go back to the board again and see if they would agree to us continue on with this. All the while that allowed me to run with it, but they'd never actually made the decision, yes, we'll support it. So we come up with the idea that we would probably need a minimum of $20,000 to cover incidentals associated with the project. On seeing that we would probably get to that, the board agreed that they would do that subject to me raising $20,000. So the hospital was already talking about doing the surgery in February. And here we are, yep, we're going to do that, but how do we get her in? And how do I raise $20,000 in 3 months? Firstly, I went straight to Rorke's Rotary Australia World Community Service, and we established the Natalia project, the number 23 of 2018-2019. And of course, this allows for tax-deductible donations to be made to the project. I then put in a submission to the District 9800 Foundation Committee for an international district grant on the basis that if we could raise $15,000, they'd contribute $5,000. And this was successful, and we were advised of that fairly early on. But then I've still got $15,000 to find. In the past, we've financially supported a number of other clubs with great projects, so why not ask for help ourselves? I figured that with 65 clubs in our district, and each club contributing just $235, that'd generate us $15,000. Now, realistically, you know that not every club's going to support that, but some will. I put that process into place through our International Service Director, Bob Ginderman, and he sent my letter out to all the International Service Directors. I then got advised by Jim Rudling in Liverpool that their club would cover over and above what we raised through Rorke's with $5,000. And he'd started doing significant fundraising for us in Sydney, where he was able to find donors, and a significant amount has come in from there. This is now a joint project of the Rotary Clubs of Phnom Penh, Cambodia, Bendigo, Strathdale and Liverpool West in Sydney. We've received a great deal of support from Rotary Clubs, community groups, individuals and businesses, and we now have in excess of $40,000 to support the project. We've made a decision that if there are funds left over at the completion of the project, they will go to like-minded projects. Dealing with the federal government has been a fairly sort of an issue. Rachel and Jayapur had been extremely thorough with the visa process. We applied for a visa for 12 months, but all the government would grant us was 3 months. And I'm told that that's fairly standard. I've travelled to Sydney with Peter Gray in December last year, as Liverpool Hospital had made arrangements for Natalia and Emma, her carer, to come in. And we stayed on the outskirts of Sydney, expecting to meet them at the airport on a Sunday morning. And when we hopped out of bed that morning, we were told, oh no, the girls are still in Jakarta. Now, I pulled out of the boarding line because of Natalia's appearance, and there were additional medical forms and paperwork that we had to fill in, and we also had to sign up and agree and pay additional cost for Natalia to fly with an oxygen bottle in case she needed it, even though she'd made a fairly long internal flight within Indonesia. So there's our team. Natalia obviously seated, and Emma there. And the guy in the blue shirt is Peter Gray, and the tall, thin fellow, that's Jim from Sydney. We took the, just going through there, the next photo, third photo, the two guys sitting on the chair. The guy in the grey suit's Michael Kernahan, and he's the plastic surgeon. And the other fella seated in the dark suit, that's Bruce. and he's been fantastic with the level of support he's been able to generate for us. We took the ladies into Liverpool Hospital leaving the airport and driving through the tunnel, like these two girls are from the hills in villages, and we're coming out through the tunnels, and I looked into the back seat and all I could see is these big wide brown eyes of amazement. Arriving at Liverpool Hospital, they were assigned to 2 registrars, and one of whom speaks fluent Indonesian. In promoting this project, Liverpool Hospital have acknowledged that this is a Rotary project involving the 3 clubs, Liverpool West, Phnom Penh and ourselves. Michael Kernahan, the plastic surgeon, started his career in dentistry, graduating to craniofacial surgery and now into plastic surgery. By all accounts, he is a well-respected surgeon. He tells us that surgeons have seen cases like this in the past, but this is the first time that Liverpool Hospital has undertaken a multidisciplinary approach to a case like this. Medical staff assisting Natalia consist of an orthopthologist, 2 plastic surgeons, 3 anaesthetists, a thoracic surgeon and 2 medical registrars. We are told that this is a project valued by the hospital at $250,000. To do this surgery for free, the hospital has to show that no Australian resident will be disadvantaged because of their effort. And Bruce French is in the process of raising $40,000, the cost of an acute care bed for 1 week, to justify Liverpool Hospital's position. We've just been advised last week that Natalia and Emma will be back in Sydney about 23rd, 24th of March, subject to a new visa being issued. Early in the fundraising process, I wanted to get a feel of what Natalia felt. She wrote to me and she said, "I've attended elementary school, but because of my situation, I had to stop my school. Every day I stay home with my father and my siblings. If friends or relatives ask me to go out, I will usually go out with them, but usually I get upset at people. There are kids that are afraid of me. There are people that will stare at me for a very long time. Makes me feel so uncomfortable. I'm so disappointed and very sad. Why has this happened to me?" Following her letter, I asked her what she wanted us to do for her, and she replied that a bit emotional. She replied that she just wanted to look like other girls. When she was here in December, she said, "I can't believe how many people that don't know me are helping me." At this point in time, from that earlier slide, I don't know whether you picked up or not, but from that earlier slide, one of her legs is severely damaged. When she was a child, her mother tried to kill her because of her appearance, and Liverpool Hospital telling us that there's no possibility of straightening the leg. However, as of this morning, and over in the House of Friendship here, the Children First Foundation had a chat to the ladies there, and they told me that they've got a magician at St Vincent's Hospital in Melbourne, so we've got some work to do in that area. And my last slide there, it just simply shows on the left of the 2 young registrars that greeted Natalia when we first arrived at the hospital, and a couple of photos, and the last one on the right, one day they were taken out to a zoo at Wollongong, and I really like that photo because you can see that under all that Natalia is carrying, she's actually got a really good smile on her face. This is a project that shows Rotary in action. We can achieve things like this because of the knowledge and the reputation of the Rotary brand. And by using Rotary networks, I've been able to accomplish a great deal more than I could working alone, no doubt. We're extremely grateful to Bruce French, his colleagues at Liverpool Hospital, New South Wales State Government. One thing I must say, and I learnt this early on from a friend of mine, Barry Cooper, who started ROMAC in this country. And Barry would always say, never be afraid to ask.